said, oh, I flagged them down, and they picked me up. There was nobody on this big flatbed, so I was kind of enjoying, lying down, looking at the sky, and I was chanting the Narasimha mantras. And all of a sudden I hear women crying, and I was almost asleep, and I wake up and there's all these women and men, and they're carrying a very old man, very tall guy, and his complexion was white. He was like almost white, but he wasn't white. But he was wearing all white. He had a dhoti on, a kurta, and he was dying. And they were bringing him to Ram. Oh, is it? You can give it to Narasimha if you want. Is it new? Thanks. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And there he is. Jai Vrindavan. Now the party starts. I'll just finish this cool story about death and Narasimha. And you know what happened? I was sitting at the front of the cart. So they put his head in my lap. He was very tall, like Vrindavan. So they had to pick him up, and I was sitting in lotus position, and they put his head right here. So I was looking down at his beautiful face, and all the women were sitting on the cart, and they were just chanting, Narasimha, Narasimha, Lakshmi Narasimha. They were just like, Govinda, Govinda, Lakshmi Narasimha. Just very simple. And they were crying. And I understood, he was staring at me with his beautiful eyes. He had green eyes. I found out later he was 102 years old. What a life. And he was effulgent. His head was in my lap. And I don't get so emotional, but there was something about this man. And I didn't know that they were bringing him to Ram Tirtham. Hi guys, hi ladies, come on in. How are you? Don't be shy, you can come closer as well. Come up to the front. Amma, Vanga. There's 2 chairs here, please come. We don't bite. Come, Amma. Yeah. Thank you for coming, guys. So we're talking about, at the time of death, being able to think about Bhagawan. So I'm telling a story just to fill you guys in. I was traveling in India, and I ended up on a bullock cart, and an old man, his head was put on my lap, and he was dying. And they were chanting, all the ladies were chanting, his family obviously. And it wasn't sadness, it was bliss. It was happiness. So I didn't know they were taking him to Ram Tirtham for his last darshan. So I started chanting Narasimha, and then I became a little emotional, which I never did in my life. I felt some transcendental potency. This man was some very pure person. You read the instructions, you come to someone pure, your hairs stand on end, you become very emotional, you're very overwhelmed with spiritual happiness. And he was dying, and he was so smiling as they were singing. The ladies were massaging his feet. And we arrived eventually, probably after an hour, to Ram Tirtham, just a little nook. And as we were pulling up, the chanting became more. And I looked at him, and I was probably one of the only times I cried in my life. Maybe 2 other times. And he just took a breath, and as they were saying Lakshmi Narasimha, he just, like the most peaceful moment ever, he just died. And then I felt this breeze, and the ladies started howling, like they make this sound in India. You're not supposed to make it as a man, but I was like, and they're crying, and there's Narasimha, Narasimha, Govinda. It was amazing. And then it was so much celebration. Right when we arrived at the base of the steps to go to the temple, he died. So he came home. And then I helped carry the body off, his sons, 4 sons were there, and they carried him to the mandir, and we went in with the body in front of Narasimha. They chanted. They carried him around the temple 3 times. They went back on the cart and they left. And I was awestruck. That night I stayed in the temple inside with Narasimha. And I was like flabbergasted. I was like begging Narasimha, take me now. Like we heard in the verse, take me while I'm young. Before I'm attached to my beautiful wife's kindness and love, before I'm attached to my son's beautiful voice, oh Papa, oh Baba, right? Before I'm, there's nothing wrong with those things, but while I can, So it was such an amazing experience. One of the things I always look to when I remember devotion that I've felt, because Prahlad, obviously we can't see him, he's not, it's so long ago, but these types of people, another experience when Ayendra died, but I wasn't there when he died, but the experience of his death and taking part was very special. And then thereafter, so many other people, I took part in them dying and leaving, and they would leave with such potency. And I was always like, I had this, I want to be walking through the jungles, and a tiger just comes up, and I'm going to a Narasimha temple, and I'm just like so happy, and then a tiger just gets me. I was like, that's how you want to go, like Rambo or something, And it never happened, unfortunately. So I had to go through the beautiful hard knocks of life, which are beautiful. And like Prahlad said, go through them, the Svadharma, do your duty, eat, sleep, mate, and defend, get married, do your duty to as a father, as a mother, to society, but offer all the results to Bhagavan. So, hey there, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. And so this I saw, even though I always said I avoided, the inevitability of responsibility. I learned that the responsibility was just as secure as this way this guy died, hearing Narasimha's name, but his Bhagavan. And then I later found out that he was a very advanced soul, who had worshipped that deity since he was 5 years old. And so he was the great-great-great-grandfather of the current Brahmin who's there, who I know. Lakshmi Narasimha Swami, his name is. Very special place. So, same with the gypsies in Rajasthan. Most people don't know. All the kings of Rajasthan, they didn't worship Krishna, even though Man Singh's daughter was in love with Govindev Ji. The first temple she established before putting Govindev Ji was the Narasimha temple. And it was just a shalagram. It's right next to the palace. I used to go there with the queen, Gayatri, Devi. She was like, no. First we go to Narsingh, they call him. Not Narasimha, they just say Narsingh. And then from Narsingh you walk and you have darshan. That's our philosophy. We go through Narasimha to get to Radhesham, because he will remove our envy, jealousy, and pride, and fear, especially fear. We saw doubt. Fear is also doubt. Prabhupada said, what did he say? It's demon. Doubt is demonic, because it really tinges on our spiritual faith. Like, how that man left was perfection. And they also believe dying in your sleep is perfection. One Prabhupada disciple, he also did it. He left the movement, whatever politics that happens. And he came back in his later years, and he was reading Gita, his whole thing, and his wife, Mankamara, would say he would read the Gita. He was old, and he would fall asleep with the Gita would just kind of fall, like this, and then his wife, she would have to take his glasses off, put it on, shut the light off, and, tuck him in, and she would leave his Gita there. And one night, next morning, the Gita was there, and normally he was up early, and she was like, oh, maybe he's tired. She didn't know. She was like, I don't want to disturb him. So she went to the temple, and he was already gone. And when she came back, his Gita was there. I was like, oh my God, that is so awesome. So this Prahlad said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Ito nishama parato nishamo. He's here, he's there, wherever I go, he's there. He's in the car with you. He's in the shower with you. He's in the bed, he's everywhere. Not that he's like watching us to judge us, no. The energy of Bhagavan is with us always. So we have to make connection. To remember, hey Bhagavan, thank you. We arrived here safe and sound. It's South Africa, after all. So you have to give thanks when you arrive everywhere safe and sound. The experiences you had in the day, the success, whatever the ups and downs, always offer everything to Bhagavan. Welcome, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Okay, back to my Narasimha Katha, because normally we do kirtan, so let's do a little talk, then we'll get into beautiful kirtan, then we can do a little more talk, and then after that, then we do Guru Puja. The last is Guru Puja, right?
Do you mind just going over that verse again that you read? Can you just quote the verse?
God, I can't find it.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see if I can.
Yes.
No, that's what I do. I like to open and you think of something. So I was thinking a little bit of death today, and that interestingly, and I was thinking of yajna. So yajna means sacrifice. I sacrifice myself, my day, my family to Bhagavan, or I do a sacrifice, a havan, right? Tapasya, like this, yajna. So, anyways, yeah. It's you should try that. Before you go to bed, whether it's Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Chaitanya, just sit, like, you know those tarot card kind of witchy type things people are into? Do that with Bhagavad Gita. One lady, she made a Bhagavad Gita tarot cards, and I loved it. Because it was, you put your, hey Bhagavan, like, and then you open it up and something so relevant would come to you, you know, like fearlessness or detachment, but not fake detachment. Like, don't be attached to the results, right? Like, Prahlad was so amazing. He said, I am not the doer, right? Bhagavan, you are everything. It is only because of you that the whole clock ticks of time. And you are always there for us. We are the temporary ones, right? Like, I was talking to Vrindavan and Krishna Anuragini and Anupam about this beautiful Narasimha temple. There was a little collapse, you know, of the guest house, not the temple. It was the illegal building next door. And they're like, oh, the statue, or in South they call it Murlava, is there. Oh my God. Sometimes we really say stupid things like, oh, God is mad. It must have been because he's mad. Or I did something wrong. Or this must be really a bad omen. How can it be a bad omen? When Narasimha came, he obliterated everybody, the demons. There was blood everywhere. Is this not a bad omen? Death was everywhere. He is death. Mrityu mrityum namamyaham. Right? So people died in front of a temple, and that's in the scriptures. If you die in front of a mandir, if you think of the mandir, if you think of the Lord within the mandir while you're dying, this is all auspicious. So very auspicious. So Bhagavan can wait there. Whether this is resolved because they have to do the formal police. It's not like America, they would be done in a few days. And chak, you know. Here you guys have maybe a different system, so maybe it'll be 1 month, 6 months, 6 years. He will wait for one pure bhakta to come, or one pure bhakta to think of him. I miss you. I wish I could come see you. So then he's there waiting. Girija Narasimha. He's awaiting patiently in a cave for his bhakta to come and love him. Not worship him, love him. So it's beautiful. We put a lot of doubts upon our own bhav, a relationship between us and the Lord. And in all my travels finding Narasimha, I would see, wait a minute, why do I have such rules? You cannot touch Narasimha, right? Like his fingers. We like to be touched. We love if our kid, this is your daughter, right? Hey, nice to meet you. We love when our daughter gives us a hug. She's our baby. Or our dad gives us a hug, or our mom, or our auntie, or you know what I mean? We all love affection. You don't think Bhagavan loves affection and love? That's what he strives for. Offerings, that's all stuff. He doesn't need stuff. He wants love and devotion. So when we have this doubt or fear, I'm not so perfect. I might, I still like to, watch Netflix, or, I like to watch TV serials, or maybe even, I like to, I might like to eat some meat, or I have some bad habits. Bhagavan's not so judgmental like we are. When you taste the first loving experience with the Lord, personal experience, the idiosyncrasies that we accumulate in our lives, or anarthas, they start kind of slowly ticking away. But you cannot be guilty and make yourself feel guilty. This is against Prahlad's teachings and all the bhaktas, worshippers of Narasimha. You have to first understand that he's already within us. He doesn't leave us. All those people that are eating meat in the world, we're no better than them. They have Bhagavan in their hearts. The criminals have Bhagavan in their hearts. The nasty politicians have Bhagavan in their hearts. They just don't connect with that. We are lucky we have the opportunity to connect with that and to daily wake up and give him a hug or do a abhishek or, be offering or tell him you love him and love his Devi, So it creates a personal relationship, and this is what I experienced in all my 30 years of dealing with his bhaktas, whether within the Hare Krishna movement, whether within so many other philosophies, the Jains, the Farsis, the Sikhs, the Madhvas, the Shris, the Shankaras, the Vallabhs, so many beautiful sampradayas, even some fake ones that were made up, Apasiddhanta, they had this affection to Narasimha that was mind-blowing. They would never doubt him. They would maybe argue over the relevancy of Vishnu and Shiva. I would test it. Even the real Shaivites, not majority are fakes. Even these Aghoris is a fake thing. This was only made up a couple hundred years ago. Shiva doesn't sit on his mother's body while she's dead and drink blood. This is craziness. This is very low. But a true Shaivite worships Narahari, Narasimha, because he knows Shiva worships Narasimha. They all I tested them, and then some people would say, no, Narayan is supreme, not Krishna, right? But then you speak to them about Narasimha, they say, oh no, Narasimha. Narasimha's Narasimha. There's no this or that. It's very interesting. And almost a fanaticism, no. Only he can protect me. Krishna's busy. Ras Leela, enjoying, breaking into the butter, feeding the monkeys, enjoying himself. Narayan is very black and white. You must do the ritualistic performances and you will get the results. You want to be a billionaire, so beautiful, no problem. Do the tut. But that's not us. That's not the Mahajans. We work on a level of bhakti, which means love and devotion. And devotees give that to each other. It's very much lacking in our Sanatan and Hare Krishna movement. Loving each other. Because Bhagavan says, if you love my people, you automatically get my love. So when I was young, I would try to connect, even though I didn't speak Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada. I would meet his people, kids, boys, girls, old, young, and I would constantly, I wanted their addiction of Narasimha to rub off on me. Hey, give me some of that, right? There's that saying, you become like who you associate with, right? So be careful. If you associate with a criminal, you might gain a couple of interesting skills. And it's true. So you hang out, when I was young, I didn't go that route of partying, and because I don't know, I was like, no problem, party, enjoy, but I kind of want to do something a little more meaningful. And when I met his people, I realized they're the slingshot to him. At the beginning of my travels, it was him, with the terrific grin that removes your sin. I remember this friend of mine had this rap, Narasimha emerged from the pillar, the divine killer. It was such a thriller. And I would make up stuff. I'd be like, am I crazy? Because I was like sleeping on the ground anywhere. I would sleep in the jungle. That's why now I'm old age. It's like, it's very uncomfortable to sleep. Probably all the years I ruined my body doing tapasya. And I didn't give a damn where I was. I just wanted to think, eat, sleep, everything him. And he would always send his beautiful people. Kids, like little gangsters. Some of those Indian village kids are little mafia boys and girls in the making. And they would take me to their Bhagavan, and they were so beautiful. Some of them would just go walk right on the altar. They wouldn't even do Achmanam. I'd be like, whoa. Because, again, not rules and regulations. You have to do Achmanam, you have to purify yourself. These little rascals would just walk on the altar and lean on the deity like a kid leaning on their dad, Hey, Dad. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so Prahlad. Because in the end, Prahlad got to hug him and be held by him, just like a father hugs the son or the daughter. And Lakshmi was crying with her eyes out. Oh my God, when will you hug me like this? When do I get this? And then Shiva was like, but no, I want to be hugged like this. Is it possible? And not out of envy. If we, sometimes, some devotee might do something unique or special. Why can he or she not that? No, impossible. If I cannot have that or do that, they cannot have that or do that. But Brahma, Shiva, all the devatas, they had it wasn't envy, jealousy, it was like a spiritual jealousy. They were praising the relationship that Prahlad and Narasimha had. So I saw that with these little kids leaning on him, hugging him, touching his cheek, literally big huge deity, and they're pinching his cheek and massaging his, like a massage. We all like massages, some of us at least. And so then what, Bhagavan doesn't want a massage? Of course. So it was so personal. And one deity, it was a standing Bala, Bhadra Narasimha, about this big. These kids were tiny. They went behind the deity, and I just see these little fingers on the shoulders, massaging like this, and I was so in ecstasy, because I was like, this is it. No doubt and no fear they had. So even though I was always fearless when I was young, I was very crazy in my wanting to have adventure, skydive, breaking all the rules. But I followed all the rules. I just didn't want to be told I had to follow rules. And even how I came to find Narasimha in Ahobalam, it was so wild and crazy and adventurous from the moment I started till today. I'm just older. The adventures haven't stopped. It's just now I have somebody who can tell me I cannot go to India now without her. It's called a wife. But it hasn't stopped. The same adventures. When I go to India, I'll find new temples, hidden abandoned temples that I never knew about, that I had driven by hundreds of times. And because India is ever evolving and technology is evolving, you can now, I was driving last year with my wife and we were going through Madhya Pradesh. Most of us haven't been to Madhya Pradesh. It's a state we don't really think about. It's an incredible area of India, like treasures and temples. So I had seen many temples before, but I was driving and one of our friends owned a tiger preservation in the middle of the jungle. So he invited us. And the area was familiar to me. And as I get older, I forget the names, but thank God I had a diary. I was like, I know this place. Now we got into the preservation. You're not supposed to get out of the Jeep. And there's no sides. It's a Mahendra army Jeep. You just hold on and you stand up and maybe you'll see a tiger on the way to his beautiful, campsite type thing. So that was his one, Dhruv, don't get out of the vehicle. He's like, I know you. Don't get out of the vehicle. Remember last time I was like, what's the big deal, man? He's like, I'll get in trouble from the government. I was like, nobody's gonna get out of the vehicle. Take it easy. But I had my phone and I just had this voice in my head ever since I was young. I thought it was nuts. We ignore it. We always ignore it. It's called your gut. It'll be like, don't say that. Don't do that. We never listen to it. But anyways, so when I was young, I would be driving and, hey, look over here. Look over here. And I would look and there's some weird structure on a hill with a namam. I'd be like, what? I'd tell the driver, stop, Buster, stop. And I would get out and I set my temple every single time, hundreds of times. So here I am, way older, old man, got my grays. And I'm hearing this voice and my wife, I'm like, shh, just, can I think for a minute, please? And look over here. So I said, hey Siri, you guys have Siri over here? Narasimha temple near me. And she was doing that little round thing. And then it opened up, Google Maps. There's a Narasimha temple like 2 kilometers down this, not even a road. And there was a sign there, do not enter. So I told my friend, stop. And there's a Narasimha temple. Look, there's a Narasimha temple there. I know this place. Please, he's like, absolutely not. It's getting dusk. No, that's the time. That's Narasimha. I have to go. I just jumped out of the truck. And he's screaming and getting his gun and, coming. And he said, wait, I'll drive you. I was so happy. We started driving down this, and we come to this beautiful nook surrounded by thick jungle. And there's this temple under a beautiful tree. And then it came back. Oh my God, I was here like almost 30 years ago. And it's just like everything. That tree, oh my God. Wait, there wasn't a temple. This is a new temple. This must be the form that I've always wanted to see, but I forgot. The one diary I had, it got wet and destroyed many temples. I lost the area and address. The temple was locked. Again, the voice, look up here. Look up here. So I look up and there's the keys hanging on the rafters. And that happened to me many times. And I was like, do I open the door or not? Open the door, of course. And there was everything was in Kannada or Hindi. No, it wasn't Hindi. MP, what do they speak? Madhya Pradesh, they speak, I think they speak Marathi and a bit of Oriyan because it borders and Telugu because it borders on those 2-3 states, and Hindi, of course. So the signs, I was like, I can just say I didn't understand the signs. If it says don't go in, I'm American. So I opened the door, and boom, there he is, with a lamp lit, and a fresh bucket of water and fresh flowers in a plate, ready to be offered. So I was just an ecstasy. I went in, and my wife didn't ever really experience these things with me. I was a solo type of dude, And I didn't want to stop for the bathroom every 20 minutes as well. I just wanted to go. No stopping, no food, no comfort. So I didn't want to torture her. But this time it was different. We were going to a nice place for her, and I was like, oh man, I have to go to this place, and like, I'm gonna have a holiday. I just want, and then this is what happened. So we both got our, desires fulfilled, I guess. And I get in there and I start doing Abhishek, and it's the deity. I remember I saw Kevala Narasimha. He was under the tree. Kevalas are generally under the tree because the temple is the jungle. The inhabitants of the jungle, and anybody should be able to come and worship him at any time. So I was in ecstasy having that. And I left a little note for the Brahmin saying thank you. Dhruva, the Dhruv, USA. And I put my WhatsApp number. So he contacted me and said I should come anytime. So these types of adventures still happen. Like I was 15 years old, and I feel 15, though my body doesn't. That energy of determination and craziness and addiction to Narasimha, right? If you say addiction, I'm addicted, it's very scary. Someone the other day, a friend was telling me that their child is addicted to something, and I was like, that's such a bummer, so young. At that age, I was addicted to Narasimha. But now we're addicted to phones or so many crazy things. And I was like, and I always joke with my wife when she, I don't want to say tries to control me, when she tries to lovingly tell me not to go, I say, darling, mera pyar. Please. Many men have bad addictions. I only have one. I could have more. It's called spiritual manipulation. Used it many times. And then she's like, okay, get out. So yeah, it's a beautiful to be addicted to Bhagwan, but we should, not at the expense of our family, obviously, in our love for our loved ones, and our society, and our job, and our spiritual community, animals, living entities. They're all Bhagwan's people. And so we shouldn't put our spiritual arrogance in front of anybody else, and so yeah. So that's a little pinch. I think we're going to do a nice little kirtan. If Vrindavan or Vikash will lead, I'll be stoked. And then maybe a few more minutes of talk, because this was 30 minutes? 7:10?
Yes, we still have some time if you want to speak more.
Should I speak more, and then we'll just do the art take after?
Yes.
Oh, sweet, okay.
I have some questions. Anybody has questions?
Sure. Any questions so far, or are you cool? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know, you mentioned you were talking about death,
Mm.
and then you said it's good if somebody passes away in sleep. I always thought it was not good, actually.
Well, in the Puranas, it mentions that's one of the best ways to leave, because most of the time when you fall asleep, there's no pain. And even if you're fast asleep, even if it's a stroke or heart attack, the pain is so minimal, according to doctors. So that's considered a blessing from Bhagwan, that type of death. Because at the time of death, we don't want to be surrounded by family crying, keeping us attached to this world. The old stories from Birbal, Akbar Birbal, you know the stories. I used to love them. Same Akbar Birbal challenged the king Akbar. He said, a man will still be attached to the lust and love of his wife or a beautiful woman And Akbar was like, are you crazy, Birbal? Impossible. You're getting time for death. There's no way. Birbal said, okay, let's go. I'll prove it to you. Birbal was always right. So he brought him to a man who was dying. Happened to be a Brahmin, spiritual person. And his wife and children were there crying. He was crying, oh, my wife, my child. And simultaneously, Birbal arranged for a beautiful woman to come. This 90-something-year-old man immediately was looking at the beautiful woman before he died. Birbal said, you see, material attachment keeps us in this world. Envy, jealousy, anger, pride, lust, greed. We still have it till the moment we die. That's why you have to transfix on, Birbal said, Bhagawan's paduka, his feet, you know. Only they can remove this from your life. So it was very beautiful. Even though Akbar was a Muslim, Birbal was always giving him Sanatan Katha. And Akbar was very pious because of that. His kingdom was prospering. So, yeah, death is amazing. None of us want to die. It's so sad. One of the Prabhupada disciples died today. Agnidev. It's like an uncle. He lived an interesting life, and he died an interesting way. So, even Vrindavan's cousin or uncle, was he your uncle Vic? Cousin. Yeah, he's Akash's uncle. He lived a very colorful life, wild life, and he died in a wild way. That's the way Hiranyakashipu lives a crazy life. 86,000 years of tapa. He got the entire universe at his feet. And look who had to come to kill him. So unbelievably violent. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. So awesome, right? So yeah, but irregardless, Hiranyakashipu's last thoughts were who? Hari, Narasimha. Can't get better than that. And he was a demon. We use this word very loosely. Oh, they eat beef, they're demons. They don't wear tilak, they're demons. They don't wear tulsi, they're demons. What do you mean? Hiranyakashipu didn't wear tulsi. Hiranyakashipu was a rakshasa, he was a flesh eater. Not just animals, humans. Rakshasas eat human beings. And how is it that Bhagavan put him on his lap and delivered him? So there's hope for me. There's hope for all of us, you know. So I'm pretty, you know. And sometimes I meet crazy gangster lunatics in my travels. Really bad people on a moral compass type of a scenario, you know. But they had this conviction of Narasimha. And they're just such criminals, cheaters, liars, but they just had this crazy conviction. No matter what they do, Bhagawan Narasimha will protect them. And he kind of did, yeah, their life. But they died. I would come back a year, 6 months later in the same area because I was traveling in like 100-kilometer circumferences, you know, looking for temples. And they would tell me, oh, he got run over. And then trampled on by like hundreds of cows, and then a rock fell on him. Like it was some crazy death scenario, you know. Like, but it happened. You know, he just finished darshan. I always heard, or even Brahmins. A lot of Brahmins are cheaters now in India. Sadly, because they have to be. The government took their temples away, so they have to cheat, steal from Bhagawan. Bhagawan doesn't need your gold or anything. But probably not a good idea to steal his ornaments and sell them, and you know. So a lot of these Brahmins I knew from my travels, and I could see they were, what's that word, not guilty, but their mind was disturbed. Because it's so, imagine, you're a Brahmin, you're born Brahmin, You're doing this seva, but then you have responsibility. So it's like, but then you have to look after your family. So you have to do this kind of negative thing to do your duty for them, but then it's imagine how that eats you alive. And yeah, a lot of times those Brahmins would mysteriously, literally just be carrying a plate of flowers to offer Narasimha, and then they just fall over dead right in front of the altar. So many of them. I was there last year, one Brahmin, he was offering the diya, right? And he became very greedy, sadly, because he liked to have many kids with many people. Anyways, I really liked him, Sudarshanacharya, his name was. So he had a lot of kids, a lot of responsibility, and he would never lift the plate. In India, South, they'll have the camphor, they offer. He wouldn't take that unless you start flashing 1,000, 2,000 rupees. The duty of the Brahmin is to be the servant of the bhakta who's coming, but sadly. So he just had a big group from Bangalore, some tech rich guys come, and he made a killing. So my good friend, his son, Madhusudan Acharya, or Madhusudan Bhatt, was telling me the story. He said, Dad had like 20,000 rupees on the plate. And he was in ecstasy. So he was offering the lamp finally with some realness. Because he just hit lottery, he just hit the lotto. So he's like, oh my God, imagine what I can do with this. But so it was real. Narasimha, he's chanting the mind, and literally after the third round, he just fell down dead. And when his son was telling me, I was like dying laughing, almost laughing so hard I was crying. When you laugh so hard, sometimes you cry. I was just like, this is so awesome. What a lucky son of a gun, right? Like, I want to die like that, worshiping Narasimha at home, So, again, there's hope for all of us, and you find that through the examples of, obviously, Prahlad and so many other, our own Srila Prabhupada. His guru's guru, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda was so awesome. He had like 12, 13 kids. He loved his wife. He was I think the amount of money he made back then, he would be a multi-millionaire today. He was a very wealthy man. He didn't give up his job and move into the brahmacharya ashram and leave his wife and kids. He didn't give up his job and just dedicate his life to Krishna. No. Have you read his teachings? He was such a responsible human being who loved his family and who responsibly practiced Krishna consciousness. And look at his philosophy. Those prayers of Narasimha are mind-blowing. He was so pure. He was like, kindly Narasimha, remove from my dirty heart envy, jealousy, pride, and from that comes lust and fear. So pure devotee was saying these prayers to Narasimha. So sometimes when I need a reality check, there's only, I think it's 5 prayers. I'll touch base with those prayers. Because here was a man living in the world in the gray. There's, how there's black and white? But a Vaishnava is in the gray. The balance. He's neither fanatic, he's neither lazy. You have to execute, your like Krishna told Arjuna, Svadharma, you're a Kshatriya, you better kill them. It's your duty. If you don't, it's adharmic. And then you have to look after your family. He told Prahlad the same thing, Narasimha. Prahlad was trying to get out of it. I just want to be with you, Bhagavan. Narasimha said, you are a king. No, you have to do your duty. So Prahlad was just a kid. Of course, he's not going to get married at 6. But as the time went on, he eventually got married, he ruled, he had a child, and he never forgot his Lord. So anything we do, I saw personally, I still see to this day, the true Narasimha's people, Hari Bhaktas, they're like on another level. And some of them are businessmen, billionaires. Some of them are a little bit naughty. Some of them, a lot, men, women, children. And you get close to them, and it's like a drop of that potency hits you, and it's like, whoa. It picks us up, so. Yeah, so some beautiful adventures. Any other thoughts or questions or realizations? Hi there.
Hare Krishna, not so much a question, but maybe must have.
Sure.
Not so much a question, but maybe two experiences I can share.
Oh, yes.
About potencies of Lord Narasimha. So I've had many experiences, but the two significant ones for me was last year I was traveling with my brother. We were in London, coming through the gates to one of flights to come back to SA. For some reason, they stopped my brother. I didn't want to let him go through.
Oh.
So I'm waiting on the other side. I'm like thinking, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So I started praying to Lord Narasimha. Started singing his prayers. And next thing you know, like I think 5-10 minutes later, my brothers. So we were all made to go down the escalator and wait in the boarding area. So then he comes down. He's like, I don't know what happened, but the lady had a change of heart. She just let me go through.
Wow.
It's like, well, let me tell you what I've been doing.
That's amazing.
The second occasion was also last year. So I was in Johannesburg, so we were driving. I was staying with some family and we were driving. I think we were going from one house or venue to another, and the cops stopped us. And it was a green light, and the cops stopped us, and obviously wanting a bribe and trying to get some money out of us.
They do that here too.
And what happened was, the cop got really aggressive.
Oh.
My brother, he's really good. He maintained calm and his composure. So the moment the cop made him get out of the car, I'm like, okay, no. So I started playing the mantras on my phone. I prayed to Lord Narasimha there, and next thing you know, he tells me, I don't know what happened, but the cop had a change of heart.
That's so cool.
It really is, when you speak about the potency and Lord Narasimha there, he's there.
Especially, yeah, and it's real. Your prayer is in that moment. It's very real, like a child crying out to the Father. So then it becomes, like Prahlad said, it becomes with love and devotion, and that captures him, right? Whereas you'll see some people come and do big offerings, and it's kind of it can be a little soulless. But then you'll see the granny who comes in, and it's just so much bhav. So your prayers, it somehow kind of removes this problem. Many devotees. This is my favorite thing. Every day I get sometimes hundreds of messages. Today and tomorrow I'll get a lot, because it's Narasimha's day of experiences like that. Oh, Narasimha, and it blows my mind, because we need him more than ever now in the Hare Krishna movement and in the Sanatan community. We need Narasimha's mercy, because there's so much division and envy and jealousy and pride and fighting. We need a bit of a clean slate. And sadly, it's been a mission for me to push that, but it's like pushback, because people have become comfortable in the deceit and the envy and jealousy and lies and trouble, like almost little teeny Hiranyakashipus, I want to lord it over. So we need that Narasimha's kind of whitewash to make Sanatan pure again, I always say. And thank you for sharing those. I really appreciate it. Anybody else have any cool things to share? You don't have nothing? Your dad's a big Narasimha Bhakta. When you were a kid, nothing wild or anything? No. But you love Narasimha too, yeah? That's awesome. She was up there helping with doing Abhishek sometimes at the cave temple.
Yeah.
Beautiful spot. Cool.
I just want to be curious on your life from beginning, how you actually got attracted to Narasimha. A little background from.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Well, I was born in the Hare Krishna movement, and because of beautiful Srila Prabhupada and his divine grace, my father and mother, he's their guru. So then I was born into it, and from a very young age, we all loved only Narasimha, because we were kids. So practically from 3 years old, we had this obsession of Narasimha Leela and relating with Prahlad's love with him. And then growing up in the Gurukul, that was constantly what it was. And then they had a big Nrsimhadev deity installed in the ashram and the temple, so we were all involved in that. My father made it to where I could do the puja, dress this huge deity. And the Prahlad deity was bigger than me. So, yeah, funnily enough, we would hug Prahlad. One Prabhupada disciple, Ganga, he was one of the Brahmins, he would encourage us to give Prahlad a little hug before we stood on Narasimha's lap to dress him. And that never went away from me. There was no distinction between Krishna and Narasimha, though, because I love Krishna. I don't see a difference. I just see a different mood. And Krishna obviously has a way different flavor of his rasa, you know. But studying the scriptures and writings from the very advanced devotees, and especially Goswamis, there's so many stories in there about how the gopis, Krishna used to torture the gopis, you know. I'm kind of, yeah, I'm a little I like to torture my wife sometimes. The other day I told her I was going to this dangerous place, and I said, I love you. She said, if you don't hear from me, you are the best wife in the world. And then I switched my phone off. Just to torture. A little bit of torture is okay. So Krishna was like big badmash. He loves it. And the girls, you know, you push them, and then boom. So one day he was walking alone. Normally he's got his boys with him, his gang. They were all sleeping. And the girls saw him. And that pent-up anger, oh boy. Maybe some of us know this pent-up anger. It comes out, the Kali. So, Vishaka, there he is. That's right. We must beat him. And like 100 girls, you know. So this is God, obviously. He's not scared of 100 girls. But, you know, he's not going to hurt them. They ganged him. They were kicking him, smacking, punching. He was on the ground screaming for his life. Marangopal, help me! Subal! They're all fast asleep. You will not be helped by anyone. Now you will suffer, you rascal, for all the torture you caused our hearts and minds. And then he manifested the face of Narasimha and started scratching their bodies, trying to tear them. And immediately they started screaming in fear, running for their lives. Narasimha Krishna, Narasimha Krishna. How could you do this? You think we are Hiranyakashipu? You're trying to kill us? So they twisted it around on him, even though they were beating him up. They made him feel guilty for retaliating, but he turned into Narasimha. So they refer to him as Narasimha Krishna, the gopis. Beautiful pastime. And Nanda Baba's temple, Nanda Maharaj worshipped Narasimha. It's the oldest temple in Braj Bhumi, 5,000 something years old. And it didn't get messed with, with the Muslims because it was in a house, Nanda Maharaj's home. It wasn't a temple. It didn't have a gopuram on it. So it's still there. It's a very tribal, wild-looking Narasimha because the Nanda Maharaj, the coward people are tribals. They're gypsies. So, anyways, beautiful. So, as I grew older and found out that Narasimha manifests in India, I set my life and made my purpose to go find that one place, Ahobilam, where he manifests. And then from there, I couldn't understand, why isn't there more Narasimha temples? Then it was just a domino effect after that. And I ended up spending the majority of my youth, thank God, because I probably would have got into some serious trouble if I didn't dedicate my life to Narasimha. Definitely. And so it just was state to state, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, years of my life searching out his temples, his people, his artwork, his the philosophy, finding treasures, ancient scrolls, lost Upanishads of his story and teachings. So many things, and meeting his very advanced swamis from the different traditions and getting their understanding of Narasimha. And basically, I ended up becoming a professor, even though I cannot stand school. I was anti-school, and that's not my brain. But I love people that go to school. My sister's like double PhD, and she's very annoying because she's so smart, And I love her, but it's like, can I just talk about like the weather today, and like, the beach or something? Why do we have to talk about the molecules of, And so I despised education. Even my son, I'm always trying to, come on, who cares about school? Let's go to Ahobalam, let's go to South Africa. I was like begging him every day. I thought, are you sure you don't want to fly over for a week? And he's like, no, I love school. And I'm like, God, is this my kid? How did this happen? But, his mother's the opposite. She likes school, but she doesn't think it's bad if he doesn't want to go eventually. But so I ended up becoming an anthropologist because I was so crazy about finding his temples. I would go to a village and find his temple, but I would see other temples, and I would be like, well, maybe there's another temple. So then I would go to every other temple, whether it was Shiva, Kali, Durga, Ganesh, Hanuman, Vishnu. So then I ended up seeing all the 108 Divyadeshams, all the Jyotirlingams, all the Chardhams, over and over. Balaji 100 plus times, Ranganath, Vitla, in search of his temples. Meeting all the gurus, so many fake swamis, but they all helped in some way or another to find his temples. So that kind of, once I had that taste of Narasimha and finding, and then that was my nature. I like adventure, I like danger, I like Indiana Jones, like digging up relics, and I found so many antique deities. Like even today I got talking to Akash, maybe we'll work it out, because things aren't like they used to be in India where it was so cheap. Like this deity came to me today, and you can kind of see. So he's almost 1,000 years old, and you can see his face. It's very rare to find a deity this old, and it's a Lakshmi, Yoga, Boga, Narasimha, but in the back here, you see that? What is that? That's a bow. So that's Ram Narasimha. This is the form Hanuman worshipped. And then if you go over here, he'll have the flower's broken. But in his hand, he'll have a flower here. This is his biometric. He's blessing you. He'll have a flower which is Chintamani. And then if you look at Lakshmi, who is she looking at? Is she looking at us? No. She's looking at him. Yoga, Boga, Lakshmi, Narasimha. They're completely content in their love. And his eyes are not straight. His side glance, he doesn't want to let her know too much. He's looking at her. Looking at her like that. And it's such a fantastic deity. So, I would collect these for my Narasimha museum. And down here, which is sadly broken, he would be holding a club, which is Bala Narasimha, which is also referred to grandfather Narasimha. Grandfathers are so cool. If mom and dad don't give it to you, just go to granddad and grandma. They'll always hook you up. So it's kind of cool. Or father Narasimha, where he's your dad, and dad always will kind of, if you, little bit of spiritual love manipulation, he'll always protect you and give you what you need. So yeah, I still find these treasures, or people will send me, and before it was like gold deities, silver. There's one deity called Panchmukhi Narasimha with 32 arms. I'd been searching for this deity for 20 years. 17 years, back in 2000, yeah. Finally I found him, down in Karnataka. If you to cross the Krishna River, which is full of crocodiles. I swam across, nobody told me there was crocodiles. The normal human thing to do is to put a sign. Danger, there's but this is India. No sign. Or someone stole the sign and is using it for something at home. And so I'm swimming across, and then there's a boatman screaming at me. And he was, they wave, so I was like, oh. And I don't know. Anyways, I made it across. And then there was something in the water. And it was wild. Anyways, I found out later. So I got across the river because there was no boatman. I'm not going to wait. Boatman came late. So I got across. I started walking up, and there's this kind of like a little valley, and there's small. It was like going back in time. Some places are like that in India. I'm telling you, you go back in time hundreds of years. There's no electricity. It's so unbelievable. So this was like that, and I could see there was some sort of temple structure, and I immediately know, oh, this is maybe Hoysala or Pallava, these two dynasties, my favorite worshippers, some of my favorite worshippers in Shiva. Beautiful pillars, and I saw the temple, and as I started walking closer, I would see people, Narasimha Swami Devasthanam, and they would ignore me, and I was like, what's wrong with these people? Am I is something wrong with me? Swami, Narasimha Devasthanam, and they would just put their head down and walk away. Finally, some of the kids, they took me to the temple, and I could see, why is it, there's no door on it? Oh, maybe the door's open, anybody can go inside, but it's a gold deity. So I go inside this tiny little temple, about this space, You have the hall, mandapam, then you have the temple, the altar. The doors on the altar were one was on the ground, broken. I was like, no, it can't be. So I go up to the altar, and it's a beautiful pitam. That's where the Lord sits. Garuda's on the bottom with his hands up like he's carrying Bhagavan. And I could see there was a space this big where the deity sat. Apparently it was 100 kilos of gold, 108 kilos of gold. But it was covered. They managed to paint it. Nobody knew. So a week before I found him, the Muslims came and killed two of the Brahmins and many villagers, and they got away with him. I was so bummed. I was like, hey, Narasimha. I would have loved to see the only deity of Panchamukhi Narasimha ever in existence. This form of Panchamukhi Hanuman is actually fake. It's not mentioned in any Shastra. There are some fake scriptures they made up about 120 years ago. Whether you want to believe it or not, I only follow what Bhagavan says in Shastra or what his people say in Shastra. I don't follow what some newbie guru made up to facilitate his or her own agenda. So Panchamukhi Hanuman is never before Narasimha Ram. Hanuman is the Bhakta of Ram. So, but there is a form of Narasimha, Panchamukhi Narasimha, which we don't generally worship. That's why that deity was so rare. He's showing the 5 faces because he's just about to kill Hiranyakashipu. He's happy. I'm freeing him, so he's happy. But then there's sorrow. He's causing him pain. But then there's anger because of what he did to Prahlad. And then there's joy, bliss. And then there's almost like confusion. What do I do? I'm stuck. These 5 facial, so that deity had all 5. And just before he was going to kill Hiranyakashipu, it's a form we don't worship, according to Shastra. But that was for it. So I never got to see that. One of the only things I regret in my life. I won't tell you the other few, but so there's a bit of so I'm doing the same thing. I'm just older and a little bit fatter. But if you're on Instagram, if you like Narasimha, then go to the God of Yoga. I'm starting my TikTok soon. And in November, we're doing a tour to Ahobilam. and other Narasimha temples where you can go and you can worship the deity and touch this old, you can hug him. Can you imagine? Worship his lotus feet. So yeah, November 6th to the 11th. If any of you are interested, you can get in touch with Vrindavan or Anupam, Akash, or Krishna Anuragani. And if you want cool Narasimha stuff, go Instagram at the God of Yoga. Any other thoughts or questions? Because we're going to stop for our beautiful kirtan. Anybody?
I've got a special request.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's doable or not.
What is it?
But Prabhu's had some beautiful yagas last week or so. Thank you for that.
Mm.
Inspired and enlightened energy and individuals. Nice positive feedback. So I think one of the pujas for the yagya is praise of Lord Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
And you say before that anyone who hears those prayers,
Right.
especially blessed. A lot of the guests here will be there tomorrow.
Oh.
And you'll be leaving soon. Is it possible to maybe just recite that in conclusion and just say a little bit if
Sure.
possible at all?
Yeah, I can do the prayer a little quickly called the...
You don't mind?
Yeah, thank you for asking. That's awesome, Anand. Yeah. I was thinking that'd be nice to do as well, even if you don't do the havan, you can do the prayer. The mantra Rajapada Stotra by Lord Shiva to Narasimha. And the first mantra in the prayer is Ugram Viram Maham Vishnu. We all know this prayer. So if you want the full benefit of Shiva's prayer, where Shiva says, if you think of Narasimha's name, not only will you achieve everything, no ghost or goblin can affect you, time cannot affect you, disease cannot affect you, no planet can affect you, right? So if Lord Shiva says this, it's like handing us a golden egg. So, and then he says, anyone who hears my prayer of love, not devotion, he says love to my Lord Narasimha, all of their wishes will come true. So just hearing it, being chanted or recited or reading it, so I'll chant it as quickly as I can, and then think of you can shut your eyes if you feel like it and make your prayers. I mean, it's already technically Nrsimha's appearance day in India. What time is it over there? It's in like 45 more minutes it'll be midnight, and they're already starting the celebration. So let's do this. So the mantra Rajapada Stotra by Lord Shiva. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ugram Viram Maham Vishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukam Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Mrityum Namamyaham. Om Vritota Pula Visalaksham Vipakshakshashadekshitam Neenadastrastra Viswadam Vishnugram Namamyaham. Sarvyadhyatmadam Praptam Sabalogam Nideshtudam Nakagrai Shakale Chakre Yastam Viram Namamyaham. Paravastapatapatalam Moradvishta Trivishtabam Bhuja Pravistasya Dishtanam Mahavishnum Namamyaham. Jyotim Sakindriyu Nakshastra Jwalindiyukramat Jwalanti Tejasyasya Stvam Jwalantam Namamyaham. Sarvindriyairapi vinasarvam Sarvatra Sarvadaha Janati O Namamyadyam Tamaham Sarvato Mugam. Narvat Simhavajaiva Rupam Yasya Mahatmanaha Mahasatam Mahadamstram Tam Narasimham Namamyaham. Yanama Smaranadbhida Bhuta Bhida Rakshashaha Rogadyascha Pranashanti Bhishanam Tam Namamyaham. Sarvopiyam Samastriya Sakalam Badramastute Shriya cha Bhadraya Justo Yastam Bhadram Namamyaham Sakshat Sagale Sampraptam Satru Gananapi Bhaktanam Nasyate Dyastu Mrityum Namamyaham Namaskaratmakam Yasmai Vidyatmanaha Nivedanam Tyaktaduko Kilangamam Asnute Tam Namamyaham Dhyanabhuta Satav Sarve Hyatmanaha Paramatmanaha Atoham Apite Dasyaf Iti Matva Namamyaham Shankaranindranatoktam Padanam Dhatvamutamam Tri Sandhyam Yaf Padetasya Vidyayo Shrishtavarate Shri Rudra Narasimhaye Namaha. Thank you so much, Vrindavan, for May you all be blessed and protected, and may all your wishes to the Lord of our heart and Father Narasimha come true. And now we're going to do beautiful kirtan, and then I got to get home because I am tired and we have a long day tomorrow. So thank you so much. Thank you.
His Grace Dhruva Das Prabhu Ki.
Om